thought I was going to die by the end of the first day. I didn't, and I recovered very well. And how many of you guys have met someone who's had a traumatic brain injury? Anyone in here? So what was your experience during that?
Yeah, I had a friend, he was in a skateboard accident.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily have any physical impairments afterwards, but his personality changed and identity issues, and just kind of became a different person. But just kind of cut off that.
I definitely say that is I'm able to now get up in front of you guys and speak. I've spoken at the University of Northern Southeastern Tampa campus 2 times now. I'm comfortable speaking, and I never would have been before the accident. Definitely a lot more outgoing, and my personality has completely changed, and that's a big thing. But a lot of things are still the same. Not everything has changed. How do I get the presentation? And I'm just going to tell you guys a little about my experience with traumatic brain injury. Like I said, just how I recovered, how I was before the accident, because that's important when you're dealing with a patient who's had a traumatic brain injury. It's how they were before the accident, and then understanding how they've changed, but they still stay the same in a lot of ways. So here's me, and we're going to begin the journey. So today I'm going to talk about my injuries I suffered. I'm going to talk about the gear worn, because that's a big part of why I am the way I am today, why I'm not as badly crippled as I should be, what I was like before the accident, the hospital, which I was admitted April 5th, the day of my accident, inpatient rehabilitation, released June 11th, talk about that experience, what that was like, the steps I took after the hospital to recover, because a huge part about traumatic brain injuries is the steps you take after the hospital to recover. That's the big thing, is you can do the best you want to with the patient, but if they don't do anything on their own, they're not going to get anywhere. I'm going to talk about what I'm doing now, my future plans, how injuries are exacerbated with a traumatic brain injury and paralyzed arm, and I also only have half the diaphragm that works, so I'll talk about that, because my right lung doesn't work at all. Adaptions I've made, I've got a couple videos of that, and I'll take some questions at the end. So let's get started. Okay, so the injuries I suffered. I did break 2 ribs, fractured 8 vertebrae, C3, C4, T1 through T6. I did puncture my right lung, one of the ribs went into my right lung. Had a brachial plexus injury. That didn't really matter though, because I did rip 4 nerves from my spine, so my right arm is paralyzed. I do have a paralyzed right side of my diaphragm. Like I said, only one lung works, my right lung doesn't work at all. I did tear my vertebral artery, which I'm sure you guys know where that is, it's up in the neck. Had a brain bleed and traumatic brain injury, and I was right-handed before the accident. I'll say I'm left-handed now because I am left-handed. I actually consider myself ambidextrous, but you know, whatever, people can't argue with that. So yeah, so now let's talk about the gear I wore while I was riding a motorcycle. Like I said, this was a big part of my recovery. So I wore a full face helmet, covers the entire head, Kevlar jacket. They use Kevlar in the military as padding to stop bullets and everything. Was wearing carbon fiber knuckle full finger gloves, jeans and boots. The jeans don't matter because when I came off the bike, I did go head first. It's assumed I got hit. I know there's a lot of opinions about a motorcycle set. That's fine. Everyone can have their own opinion. I'm not going to talk about that. We're just going to kind of move on and just ignore our own personal opinions and just going to talk about my experience. So I was wearing jeans and boots. Those don't matter, like I said, because I went head first into a tree at 40 miles an hour. I shattered my helmet completely. My helmet was just in pieces, basically. And luckily, my head did absorb most of the impact, so my body was okay. So yeah, so here's a picture of my helmet, and the reason I put this picture up there is because the helmet on the left is the one I had a little over a month before my accident. I got the one on the right, that's the one I was wearing in my accident. I show you this picture because the one on the left was a little bit loose, and if I was wearing that helmet, I would have died instantly. They're still kind of confused how I didn't die instantly, even with the helmet on the right. So the helmet on the right I got for my birthday, because my birthday's March 10th, at Bike Week. It's a newer helmet, it's got a bunch of different technology. My dad complained about the $300 price tag at the time. He says now he wished he would have bought the $600 helmet. It is what it is. So yeah, the main reason I rode my motorcycle was, like I said, my dad, God, they can't see the pointer. So I rode it because I really enjoyed riding it with my dad. I never really went out by myself. This was maybe my 3rd time out by myself. It was less than a mile from my house. My parents probably out the worst way possible that I was in an accident. They heard sirens go by the house, they figured nothing. They were just annoyed when they got home, the motorcycle wasn't there. They're like, well, where is he? Why is it taking so long? Got a call about an hour later. Of course, they're worried about me. Or my dad called my phone about an hour later, and a minister answers the phone, a minister at the hospital. And the guy's like, hello? My dad's like, well, who's this? And the guy's like, who's this? My dad's like, I'm his dad. Now give him the phone, please. And the guy said, it's not looking good. You need to get down to ORMC. I wasn't romantic during the accident. So my dad had to rush out to the hospital. There's the bike and what I was wearing while I was in the accident. As you can see, jeans, boots, jacket. I had this picture of the bike because I think it's good because I'm just saying, so sports bikes you have pegs on the back, cruisers you have pegs on the front. I like having in the center. What this means is I could have been leaning over super close to the ground, dragging my knee across the ground. You can see some people ride sports bikes. I just talk about that because that's kind of like why it's thought I was hit. At first it was thought that I just slipped off, but then a state patrol officer came by and said, no, we need to open this up. This was a hit and run, and that's how they determined that it wasn't just me falling off the bike. So yeah, now we're gonna talk about how I was before the accident. So I was a junior in high school. I played football and had just started wrestling. Gotta check my notes or else I'll get off track. So it is important to understand my entire life because you can't expect the patient to be smarter than they were before the accident, or even to act completely the same, but they're still gonna have some traits that are similar about them, that they still remember. They're still gonna like a lot of the same things and not like a lot of the same things. And you can't go in there thinking that they're just malleable and you can do whatever you want with them because they're not gonna respond to everything. So yeah, but before the accident, I was a junior in high school. I played football and had just started wrestling. The year before, I went through a major lifestyle change and lost 8 pounds. I talk about that because that's a big thing for my recovery too, because my heart rate was over 200 for a while after the accident. I had a 3.0 GPA. I took honors and AP classes. I know a 3.0 isn't that impressive, but I was the type of kid who didn't do homework. I just kind of went in there, took the test, and left. And I had a few conferences with teachers that my parents had to come to, and the teachers would yell at me, and I just say, well, I just don't feel like doing it. I was playing football. I didn't really care about school. Talk about how that changed later on. I was signed up for German exchange program and heavily involved in German club. So even though I wasn't a great student in school, I really liked the German language. I've actually learned some more of it since I've been in college. So yeah, and I was a model. That's pretty impressive. So picture, please. So yeah, I was before the accident. This picture right here is me when I was 285 pounds. Here I was 220. I had lost 8 pounds, put 20 pounds of muscle on. It's hard to see, but I didn't have a six-pack, but I was pretty strong. I could bench press over 300 pounds. I squatted over 450. I ran 8.5 miles at an 8.5 minute mile. I worked out 3-4 hours a day. I cared a lot about the way I looked, and that's something that's definitely changed. I still care about the way I look, but I'm not as committed to that. Here is a picture of my football helmet. I told you guys I did play football. The reason I put that is, if you can see it, there is huge chunks out of the helmet. This was actually given to me by the equipment manager because I was in the accident. He pulled it aside and saved it for me and gave me my helmet. But I put that up there because the huge chunks of the helmet, I'm 5'10", which is the average height for the white male in America. Look it up, it's true, so I am average, but anyways, so I'm 5'10", people's face mask would hit my helmet because a lot of guys in the line are 6'2", 6'3". So I had a lot of injury to the head. I suffered 4 or 5 diagnosed concussions. I probably had anywhere from 10 to 20 undiagnosed because it's definitely times I got hit and I knew. There was one time I had double vision. Never went to the doctor about that, got told to get back on the field. Just kind of like I don't have a clean brain, so to say. If you don't mind, can you just hold questions? Sure. Go ahead.
I was curious where you played football at.
Oh, I played football at Lake Brantley High School.
So did I.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. What class?
09.
I was class of 2015. Sorry, I was off track. So anyways, here was my schedule for senior year. Here's what I plan on taking: AP German, AP Stat, Astronomy and Solar Galactic Systems, American Government Honors, AP Macroeconomics, English 4 Honors, Intro to Business, Business Law. Here's me at Bike Week the week before the accident, and this is me at Chili's. Kind of let you know how I was before the accident. I really like technology, and I still do. I soldered a lot of stuff, and I fixed Xboxes for extra money on the side. But anyways, the reason I tell you that is because I wanted to go to Chili's for my 17th birthday, so it's about a month before my accident. They just come out with the credit card kiosk thing that you pay yourself. They've just come out with that, and I had to go see it. I don't like Chili's that much, but I had to go see this thing. It was pretty cool at the time. Kind of lived up to the expectation, but so yeah, I was a model. So this was very short-lived. This lasted about 2 months. This was for senior pictures. That's her son right next to me, the lady's son who took the pictures. She hadn't picked a boy in 10 years. She talked about how amazing my essay was, all these great things. And I was like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I'd never read the essay, my sister wrote the essay. That's probably why she picked me. So yeah, now we're gonna talk about the hospital. So, like I said, I was in the hospital and inpatient rehab for a total of 67 days. I think inpatient rehab was about 2-3 weeks, so that puts me in the hospital 46 days about. So I had a lot of friends come visit me in the hospital. That's them in the waiting room. I was the baby of the hospital, so to say, because I was only 17. I was in the adult hospital, so that sign in the center says "Good luck in rehab. We love you." Diana and Lizzie, they're both nurses that I had in the hospital. I got a lot of extra attention because I was the baby of the hospital. So yeah, I had a lot of support from my friends. The football team supported me. This ball down here is actually signed by the entire Lake Grantley High School football team. I had a lot of support from the school. These are all cards and pictures and poster from the school that everyone signed and gave to me. So yeah, I wanted to talk about, this is right over here is a video, and my sister actually worked with me. She took the poster and checked pictures of my friends, and she asked me to point out people. I'll play a little clip of that video. And actually here's a video of my stubbornness. I was supposed to be unconscious. The doctor gave me medicine, I guess, to not be unconscious. And I guess I just didn't want to be unconscious, so the doctor didn't believe my dad, so he took a video to show him, and the doctor was surprised. So, okay, well, we're gonna watch it upside down. So this is me trying to put my thumb up. I'm sorry about this, I didn't know it was upside down. But you can hear my dad talking to me, trying to put my thumb up. He's telling me, good job. He showed the doctor this shortly after. The doctor was very surprised and told them to take me off all the medicine they had me on, trying to shut me down on all the medicine. And then here's my sister. I'm sorry, this is really bad, but here's my sister working with me. She told me to point out people. See how I kind of moved slowly? I was out of the coma, but I wasn't fully conscious. She's asking me where Andrew is. I'm trying to slowly see if I actually do find him. Hopefully that whole video is kind of long. But that's kind of how my sister worked with me, was through these pictures and photos. She had me point out people I knew, friends. Andrew's my best friend from, I've known him since I was probably 3 or 4 years old. I was able to find him, like I said, it did take me a while. And I think that's one of the key things to why I recovered so well, was my sister did work with me so early on. So yeah. So inpatient rehabilitation. So in inpatient rehabilitation, I went to occupational speech and physical therapy. I had to relearn how to walk. I had to relearn how to talk. I couldn't really talk that loud. I had to relearn how to eat. I couldn't swallow. And honestly, I wasn't sure if I was gonna share this with you guys, but I had to relearn how to go to the bathroom. I couldn't go to the bathroom on my own. Had a lot of, I don't know, the thing that makes you go to the bathroom. Basically, you poop yourself while you're sleeping. It's really uncomfortable. Sorry, it is. It's very uncomfortable. But anyway, so I worked with the occupational on the everyday tasks, things I did every day. In speech, I worked on memory, reading fluency, eating, and speaking louder. Physical, I worked on walking, sitting up, because my actual core muscles were so weak, I couldn't sit up out of bed. For a while, I just had to roll out of bed because I wasn't strong enough to actually sit straight up and down. And I worked a lot on balance. That was the biggest problem with my walking. So yeah, I felt normal the entire time, and that's just something I tell you guys, because I don't remember speaking in a quieter voice, and it's different for every person who has a traumatic brain injury. I remember the entire thing. I actually go back and visit the people there. They enjoy seeing me and just seeing my recovery. So I had a lot of people visit me in the hospital, and I was released June 11th, or many people visited me in inpatient rehab. I was released June 11th. So yeah, here's 2 more videos of me walking. I don't know if they're gonna work, but in this video you see how I wore a sling. I'll actually talk about that real quickly. So I'm not wearing a sling right now. My right arm is paralyzed, like I said. The reason I don't wear a sling is because when you wear a sling, you draw a lot of attention to yourself and you get a lot of comments from people. And you say you're in a motorcycle accident, and a lot of people say different things to you, like, oh, I call people on motorcycles organ donors, glad you can't ride anymore, all things that are just crazy. I don't know, I just let people talk. I don't say anything to them. I just stare at them, let them know it's not okay. I guess they expect me to laugh. I don't know why. I still like motorcycles, so. Does anyone in here ride any motorcycles? Just out of curiosity. What do you ride?
Ride your bikes?
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and my only suggestion to you is to always wear your gear. That's all I have to say to anyone who rides a motorcycle, is just always wear your gear. If you ride a scooter, please wear your gear. I talked to a kid the other day. He's like, yeah, my scooter only goes like 40, 45, it's the max rating. So I was like, I hope you realize my accident happened at 40 miles an hour and I was hit by a car. That's the biggest thing, is you guys need to always wear your gear. But sorry, I just went on a little tangent. Traumatic brain injuries. Anyway, so here's a short video of me walking. Get 'em. Okay, well, I guess we're gonna watch this sideways. So, sorry about this, but you see how I'm kind of struggling? It's kind of hard to see because I know it's sideways. They worked last time, but anyways, you kind of see how I'm like stumbling, and my head was very bent over. If you look at me now, my head still sits kind of to the right. That's because of the fractures. So yeah, and the other video is me a little bit more into therapy. I only have 1 person supporting me. At one point, I needed 3 people to support me. So this one's sideways too. So anyways, but you see how I'm kind of like bent straight over in the video. My head's looking straight down, kind of walking forward. This is Christine, my physical therapist. She went to the same high school as me, so we got to talk about a lot of that. She went to Lake Brantley. She actually lived 4 houses down from me when I was younger. Never knew that actually, but in there we talked a lot about that, and that was good for me as the patient to talk about that and learn about that, because it gave me something to connect to. And if there's anything I want you guys to learn, and if you're gonna work at the inpatient rehabilitation center, you have to treat the patient like they're normal. All my therapists did a very good job of that, is they treat me like I was normal, treat me like a normal human being. They always acted like I was capable, because I was in their eyes. And whenever you're working with a patient, no matter how mentally handicapped, I guess they are, or how mentally there they are, you always need to ask the patient first. Don't go straight to the caregiver, because the patient may be able to tell you something that the caregiver can't. Go to the patient first, and then you can go to the caregiver and ask them other questions that the patient can't fill in. But it's important because sometimes the patient knows things that the caregiver doesn't. And if there's one point I'd like to get across today, that's really it, is that people with traumatic brain injuries, they are normal people, and people with any injury are normal people, and maybe they're not able to communicate as well, or they act out, but my mind still worked the same. I could still process everything you told me, just about. And I knew when people were treating me like I was different. So I had a ton of this is me in inpatient rehab. I had a ton of people visit me in the hospital. So here's me. I have a problem with selfies. I did. When I found the phone, I just had a really big problem with taking selfies. It still persists today. I don't know, I can't explain it, it's bad. But yeah, I had a lot of friends visit me. I'm wearing a hat there that my uncle's friend, who's a Navy SEAL, gave me that. The Navy SEAL since he was 18, he's like 47 now, just encouraging words. There's me ringing the bell. I rung the bell because when they first rolled me out of ICU, I couldn't ring the bell. You generally ring the bell when you leave. I barely could, so I walked back over there and rung it one day for my physical therapy session. It was taking the car down to the hospital, walking all the way, and ringing the bell. So when you guys do your treatments, they can be different and innovative, and they don't always have to be by the book. You have to look outside the box. My physical and outpatient therapist actually took me down to Lake Eola one day, had me walk around Lake Eola. And the reason outpatient worked into that was experience. Like I said, it's very unconventional. So my one goal of inpatient rehabilitation was to walk out, and I did. That's why there's some pictures. I walked all the way from my room out to the car in the parking lot. Right here you see, this is my occupational therapist. Can't really see the picture, but she's smiling, she's beaming ear to ear. I did wear a sling in the beginning, I don't wear one anymore, like I said. And here's a fundraiser the school had for me. I showed up to the last one, actually, they were very surprised by that. They were having fundraisers at Chick-fil-A for me all the time, and I showed up to the last one. I couldn't walk at that point. So yeah. So now I'm gonna talk about the steps I took after the hospital to recover. So I did have a surgery in Baltimore. A lot of people are interested with this surgery because there's only a handful of surgeons on the East Coast. Probably there's not that many in the entire world who can do the surgery. So I had to go up to Johns Hopkins in Baltimore. It was a nerve graft, but the complication of it took nerves from my ribs, connected my something in my neck to my shoulder, and tried to get my bicep and tricep back. He really wanted the shoulder though. Didn't want my arm to come out of the socket. That was successful. So I did have therapy twice a week. I had an hour of speech and occupational physical, so very grueling. I was in school full time because I went back to school on time. I graduated on time. I was able to make up the last 6 classes from school the previous year. I missed the last 8 weeks, so they didn't give me credit for the second semester. I had a lot of teachers who just agreed to give me a test, and I actually had 3 or 4 teachers who just signed off and said I passed the test without me even taking the test, because they just knew last 8 weeks don't really do much. And I started running again. I do run. So yeah, so I'm gonna talk about my surgery in Baltimore. I had a total about 120 staples. I got a picture of the scars, next slide. But I've got a cut here, here, down the inside of my arm actually, and down across my ribs. Yeah, it's these staples right here. I want to talk about this. These staples got caught in each other. It's the arm that's a rib cut and the arm. They caught with each other. It didn't hurt because my arm is paralyzed, so lucky in that sense. And I actually still don't have feeling in most of my right nipple. Fun fact. So yeah, so here's the scars today. So the trach tube, if you notice the trach scar's a little bit pink, and I'm told it's a little bit, you can see it, it's a little bit pinker than it should be because they apparently left in like the piece for 2 or 3 weeks longer than they should have. That's what I'm told. I don't know if that's true or not. But yeah, you see how this scar stretched out because it's on my side and just kind of stretched, the skin stretched, but scars did heal up pretty good. I actually yelled at the surgeon for that, asked him what was wrong with my scars, and he was freaking out. The surgeon of Baltimore, I've seen once a year, I would mess with him. And I was like, yeah, you did them too well, they healed too well, I can't have a story to tell, I need you to cut me again, make it look worse, and he just shrugged his shoulders and laughed at me. Like I said, I have a good relationship with him. See him about once a year now. So yeah. So I started running again. Here's actually a picture of me getting the first version of my running sling made. That's Danielle. She came in with neck braces in the hospital. When I needed neck braces, gave me all types of different braces and equipment to use in the hospital. And I actually went back, she combined a couple different slings to get me a running sling. So they don't make a running sling for people with paralyzed arms. I don't want my arm bouncing around, flopping around. So this picture, I want to talk about this because the facility I'm not going to name the place, but I only went there for about a month, and that's because the physical therapist there, you guys are all physical therapy students, the physical therapist used to tell me, because like I said, my neck was bent, she used to tell me how if I didn't stand up straight, I didn't do all these different things, I was going to end up with a bent over neck, I'd have to get surgery, it'd be very painful, long recovery time, and she just generally made me feel bad about myself. I come out of therapy every week, twice a week, and cry my eyes out, because she just made me feel horrible about myself. Like I said, I was only there for a month because I went up to Baltimore for the surgery, came back down to Orlando, I never went back, my parents said we're not taking me back there. But here's me running my first 5K with my dad. He thinks he can protect me, that's why he runs behind me. I don't get it, but I just let him because it makes him feel comfortable. But here's me at the good, I call it the good therapy place. So this is Celebration, Florida, in Celebration Hospital. So this right here is actually anti-grav treadmill. A lot of places don't have that, so you put on shorts and you zip into it. It pushes up air to give you pressure pushing you up so you're not putting as much weight on your legs. That was very helpful in getting me to walk again. Here I'm on a balance board and I'm not that good at balancing. Her foot's balancing it for me. And it had to be like that for a while. I don't even know if I could stand on it today. It's very difficult. They train a lot of Magic players down in Celebration. A lot of football players. They work with a lot of people with a lot of money. And if you know Celebration, it's generally got more money down there. I'm lucky enough that my parents drove me an hour to Celebration because I live just north of Orlando. My dad was able to do that for me twice a week, and I'm very lucky in that sense. So moving on. So here's me at graduation, and I put this picture because this is my speech pathologist, Mike. This is Tara, physical therapist. You guys just don't like your patients. She didn't come. No, she was on vacation. She couldn't come. She felt real bad about it. But so there's my first drawing after the accident with my left hand, and I did that for 90 class senior year of high school. So I put a picture of me driving. There's my sister that's on her Snapchat. He's driving me around. Got a scared look on her face because I just gotten reapproved. That was a big process. I had to go through a lot. I always had my license. I never got a ticket for the accident. And my license was never taken away. But I did go to a driving center in downtown Orlando because I need to get recertified, because if I was in an accident, someone could sue me saying I was unfit to drive, I was never reapproved to drive, all these different things, and they probably win, unfortunately, because I did have a severe traumatic brain injury and paralyzed arm. So I drove around for 3 hours with the instructor in the car, and she signed off and approved, and I've got the slip and everything. There's me walking across the stage at graduation. I did go to prom. That is my best friend, Andrew, right there. I've known him since I was 3-4 years old. This picture here is prom. There's Dylan, he's in the center, and the reason I talk about him is because he was there every single day when I was in the hospital. He was even there on school days, and my mom would ask him, Dylan, why aren't you at school? He's like, oh, today's a holiday, Mrs. Sure. Or, oh, today's school got canceled. She's like, Dylan, it's a Wednesday in the middle of the week. And he would just kind of shrug his shoulders. And I talk about him because it was actually kind of funny because, say he was there every day. A lot of people at school were surprised by this because Dylan is known as the bad boy of the school, does a lot of bad things, and people thought it was really weird I was good friends with him. He's got a really good heart, and that's probably why I'm friends with him. I'm still friends with him today. The football team of these two pictures right here, the football team still included me in a lot of things. There's me walking across the senior night for the coin toss. There's me at a football dinner event, they called it. They had it on Thursday nights, football was on Fridays. And the football team still treated me like I was a part of the team, which was very nice. And then this picture my dad took, says waiting at the doctor. I spent a lot of time with doctors. My senior year of high school, while everyone was out having fun, partying, whatever, I spent my time with doctors in inpatient rehabilitation, just getting better, sleeping. I had to sleep a lot after the accident, after traumatic brain injury. You need a lot of sleep. I actually today, I just did a project. I averaged about 4.5 hours of sleep a day. I'm completely fine. I don't know why. And when the more I looked into it, people generally with traumatic brain injuries after recovery, they sleep less during the day, and they spend less time in REM. So, yeah, my sleep's kind of messed up. I don't really know. But so I'm going to talk about what I'm doing now. Okay, sorry, that was confusing. I'm going to talk about what I'm doing now. So I did attend SSC Seminole State College because that was by my house. For my first year of college, I stayed there for my first year because I needed to be home while I still went to doctors. Still had a lot of doctors. Yes, this was my second year of recovery into my accident, but I went to doctors probably every week during the time. I still go see doctors, but probably once a month, every month or two. So I can just run home to Orlando. It's only an hour and a half for those. I did transfer to USF the summer of 2016. Transferred summer A, so I did transfer with a 3.875 GPA. I have a 3.8 at USF right now. It's probably going to drop to a 3.76. I'm not exactly happy about that, but it is what it is. I mean, yeah, I can't get an A in every class. I try to remind myself that, but I'm very hard on myself about that. I am running. I'm working on a full marathon. I shadow the speech pathology. I'm majoring in communication science and disorders with a focus in speech, language, and hearing. What that means is I want to go to graduate school for speech pathology. I'm minoring in gerontology, which basically the study of old people. It's a lot more complicated than that, but geriatrics is looking for cures, treatments, medicine. Gerontology is just studying how aging affects the older person, how different diseases affect them. I am the vice president of the Beef Studs. They're the people at the football games who paint themselves. I actually just got elected vice president. And the CSD Student Steering Committee, that's basically for my major. They want me on there because I'm one of the only guys in speech pathology. I'm actually the only guy who goes to the meetings. And I start my program next fall, and it's 2 years. I'll be with the same girls. There may be 1 or 2 other guys. I don't know. A lot of people say I should be excited. I'm not gonna say anything back. Because you guys look good girls in here. Girls are good to work with, but again, I'm sure. I can say much else about that. So I did put a picture of my degree works, just because I just want to let you guys know I am in college going after a real degree. I'm not here for some publicity for the school. I'm not here saying, oh, look at us, we got a traumatic brain injury patient who has a degree and then has a master's degree. No, I plan on being a full practicing speech pathologist when I graduate graduate school. So yeah, and you can see my GPA there too. I put that there for that reason too. See, 3.8, just letting you guys know, I'm not lying to you guys. 3.8 and 3.87 transfer. Moving on though. So here's the day I got accepted. I actually took a tour of USF. They told me at the end there was some mix up in their paperwork, and they came out 20 minutes later. Of course, I'm annoyed at this point, told me I got accepted. I made the president's list both semesters at Seminole State College. Here's my plan for the next couple of years. Said I am taking real classes. I'm not taking just big classes. And I don't understand this. I now have a girlfriend. Not sure how it happened. Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me either. So here's me running my first half marathon. So I plan on running a full marathon, but that was going to be at the end of this year, but I think that's been pushed back until the end of next year, just because coming to school, there's a lot for me to adjust to, learn how to do things on my own. I live by myself. I don't have a caretaker. I don't need a caretaker. It's offensive. People will ask me if I have a caretaker. I find it very offensive. I'm a fully functioning person. Yes, there's things I had to figure out how to do with one hand living on my own, but I figured them out. YouTube's a magical place where you can find a lot of stuff to do, how to do things with one hand. It's generally annoying because the people who make the videos, they've had one arm their entire lives. They were born with one arm. And you'll learn that people who are missing a limb when they're born, or you've already learned, things are a lot easier for them to pick up because they've never done it with 2 hands. So it is kind of frustrating watching videos. Anyways though, I ran a half marathon. There's me on the Beef Studs, paint myself for the games, a little bit crazy. And these pictures here, these 3 pictures, these 3 are here because just showing you how I've changed direction. 4 pictures because a lot of things I wouldn't do before, and I'm willing to try anything once within reason. I'm not gonna go out and try meth, guys. So I am willing to try anything once. So there's me getting my eyebrows threaded. My mom's sister, trying to get my eyebrows threaded forever. Never going back. I was crying by the end of it. The lady was making fun of me. All the other ladies were making fun of me. Horrible experience overall. I performed in a talent show. I don't have any type of talent. I saw Taylor Swift shake it off. There I'm wearing a size 2 shirt. Don't know how I fit it in. Girl shirt. And I'm wearing short shorts. I won 3rd place at the talent show though. Over here I painted myself for an intramural softball game. Kind of weird. And then here, this picture you guys will actually like. So I don't really think a lot of the time. Shouldn't say that. But yeah, sometimes I don't think. And there I'm wearing Best Damn Race shirt. I ran a half marathon. It's called the Best Damn Race. I went to a Black Student Union event. I was the only white person there. And if you look at me, I'm very white. So there's 3 people next to me, and they're kind of got confused looks on their faces. Getting a lot of dirty looks at first until someone came over and talked to me, but it just happens. I mean, I don't know. So yeah, so now I'm going to talk about my injuries with the traumatic brain injury. Paralyzed arm and one diaphragm working, how they affect me now. So a few weeks ago, I tried to do an injury kick. I don't know why, I just wanted to do one. And I jumped up and landed on my head. You see how my head was split open. So I do get phantom pain in my right hand because the nerves are ripped out, so my hand hurts all the time. It hurts right now while I'm talking to you guys. So I downplay a lot of my injuries because they don't really bother me. I can have cuts all up and down my leg and my arm and not really notice them. But so I was kind of downplaying it, and then when I stood up and I realized my vision had black lines in it and it was kind of blurry, realized there was a problem, so I said, can someone take me to the ER? So I went to the ER, thought there was a brain bleed, there was no brain bleed, I took a CAT scan, thought I detached my retina, there was no detached retina. Told injuries to my head are now exacerbated because I had a severe traumatic brain injury, so it's gonna be worse. Here's a picture of my arm, it's kind of gross. That started off as a small scratch on my elbow, my right arm. So that started off as a small scratch on my right elbow, and it got infected. And on the picture on the left, you can see there's a skin infection, so the infection was under my skin. I had to go to the doctor, take antibiotics, so I just had to be extra careful and look at that. And then injuries with one diaphragm working, they're not really injuries. When I get sick though, when I get any type of cold, I have to make sure I go to the doctor almost immediately. I generally show up 2 to 3 days after. The doctor looks at me confused until I tell them I only have one diaphragm, because I am at higher risk of getting pneumonia or one of those other things that are involved with the lungs, because what happens is bacteria, the infection gets in my right lung and just sits there because there's no air pushing out. So now we're gonna talk about ways I've adapted post-accident, so different things I've done to kind of, I don't know, just manage having one arm. So here's the most updated version of the running sling. It goes around my back, my waist, straps my hand in so my hand doesn't flop around when I will run. It's very, very useful. It's a lot better than the original prototype. I might try, I'm gonna go back this summer, just gonna make me a new one because it smells, because I don't really wash it. I mean, I hand wash it every once in a while, but I mean, you can't really put one of those things in the washer or the dryer, so I'm not gonna hand wash it every day. And then here's a picture of my handwriting. You actually can't see it as well as I thought you would, but my handwriting is probably better than when I was right-handed. And I attribute that to the fact that when I write, I have to focus. My brain has completely switched. It took about 6 months, they say, for your brain to switch over to the other hand and instead of using the one hand. So I've got a unique style when I type that a lot of people were interested in. I noticed in my presentations, I actually showed them a couple times on their laptop, so I took a video of it this time. And then there's me tying my shoes with one hand. When I was in inpatient rehabilitation, occupational therapist, I think one thing I wanted to learn before I got out, I said I want to learn how to tie my shoes. So I'm 17 years old, and I don't want to have to ask people, I don't want to have to wear Velcro shoes, I'm not going to want to have to go through that. So she taught me how to tie my shoes off a YouTube video. But here's me typing. This is a short video of me typing. You can kind of see how I use my whole hand. I use most fingers. Most of your keys are obviously on the right side, so I use my pointer finger a lot. But you can see my index finger move. I am hitting keys with it. A lot of people find that interesting because I type at a decent speed. I can almost type as fast as someone with 2 hands. I kind of just learned that. I didn't really look that up or anything. I just kind of adapted to it, and there's a lot of little things that I do. I make my own adaptations. I use my entire left hand now. I use all my fingers equally. I carry a lot in my left hand, and as long as I can get my pinky free, I can open up a door, which a lot of people are surprised by, but my fingers are very strong now compared to the average fingers. So next video, this is me tying my shoes. So you see kind of how I tie my shoes. I use my other foot because I don't have another hand. And then, so as you pull the knot tight, you'll see my foot move, and that's to get the knot more in the center. That's something I kind of just had to learn on my own too, because I wanted the knot more centered. These are my running shoes. Honestly, the knot's probably just as tight, if not tighter, than having regular shoes, 2 hands, tying your shoes with 2 hands. There's a lot of things you can do with one arm that are very similar, or just as good as having 2 arms. Sometimes I think it's actually better. The idea of having 2 arms, it's kind of weird because I had 2 working arms for a while. The idea of having 2 working arms is confusing to me. 2 working arms is confusing to me because I feel like my other arm would just get in the way. I'd be trying to do something with my left hand, right arm would just get in the right way. I'm kind of glad I have paralyzed arm, honestly, because it'd just be way too confusing. I don't know how you guys do it. So now we're gonna take questions. So what are our questions? Anyone have any questions?
Don't be shy.
You got, okay. I'll just say this, when you ask questions, they don't have to be related to my story I just told you guys. As long as it relates to traumatic brain injuries or any of the injuries I suffered along the way, you can ask me. Would you like me to give a couple examples of questions I've been asked? Yeah.
You kind of touched on it a little bit, but could you give more examples of things that people said that I guess they were trying to be nice but was offensive towards you,
Yeah.
just so.
So about that, people aren't trying to be nice, that's the thing.
Oh, okay.
I hate to say that, but they're not. They're usually trying to let me know what I did was wrong, riding motorcycle was wrong, what I did was wrong. I deserved what I got, I've been told that. Well, you kind of deserved it, what did you expect, you rode a motorcycle? If you ride a motorcycle, you're half as likely to get an accident, but if you do get an accident, you're twice as likely to die. That's just a statistic that's real, I found online. But yeah, so people will say things like that, well, what did you expect, what did you deserve what you got? Call people organ donors, they laugh, I don't laugh with them. They're kind of confused when I don't. Just things like that. I get told, well, I bet you're glad you can't ride them. Just a bunch of different things. I'm trying to think of it right now. My parents get called horrible people for letting me ride a motorcycle. My dad's been riding motorcycles since he was 12 years old. He's 51 now. Never been in a bad accident. His dad, his brothers, they've all been riding motorcycles. They're all fine. It's not a common thing. You just hear about accidents when you hear about motorcycles. Because of course you're going to hear about bad people. You're not going to hear about the good. So yeah. Does that kind of answer your question? I'm sorry, I can't really think of it off the top of my head. But that's really what I get. I just get a lot of negative comments, a lot of negative talk about motorcycles.
That was my,
Yep. Go ahead.
well, that was my question.
Oh, that was your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
What was one of the biggest, like, adaptations? You talked a lot about you had to adapt to things going out in the community. What was, like, one of the biggest adaptations you had to make?
With one arm? It's gonna sound kind of crazy, brushing my teeth. I talked about this before, brushing my teeth was one of the hardest things. My teeth were all messed up from being in the hospital, so of course I had to brush my teeth really well. I've probably had 8 or 9 teeth pulled out from the hospital, where I've got cavities. I got that under control now, but that's one of the hardest things is because you stab yourself in the mouth. I mean, go ahead and try it. Brush with the opposite hand that you guys don't usually brush with. You stab yourself in the mouth, you get sores and cuts in your mouth, and you just don't really want to brush your teeth after that. That was one of the hardest things, and I know that's kind of a simple thing to adapt to, but that was one of the hardest things. I relearned how to get dressed, put a shirt on. That's interesting. I was gonna put a video, but I wasn't really sure if you guys would want to see that. But yeah, it's definitely brushing my teeth, but it won't get. So it's all over there.
Yeah, just because I know some of us are in Orlando for clinicals.
Yeah.
Was your inpatient at ORMC or was it at somewhere else
So,
downtown?
They're a part of ORMC now. They're called Burke Inpatient Rehabilitation. Yeah, they're actually a part of the hospital now. They just redid the hospital down there. Very good unit. If you get in there, try to get with Christine. She's the physical therapist. They're very smart physical therapist. They've got a lot of updated technology in there. They can definitely help you out. Any other questions? Yeah.
At the very beginning, you said there might have been some changes like in personality.
Yeah.
What were some of the movements?
So there's been a lot. Like I said, I'm willing to come up here and speak to you guys. Never would have done this before. I'm a lot more outgoing. I'll talk to anyone about anything, anytime. It's one of those things that if I missed out on a lot because I didn't stick up for myself really, because I was just a quiet guy. Yes, I was big and strong, but I was very quiet because I was still kind of in the 285-pound Garen line, so I was very shy, not very social. I'm definitely a lot more social, a lot more outgoing. I know just about everyone. And that's probably the biggest thing is my personality where I'm definitely more outgoing, I'm not shy. I still like a lot of the same things. I still like the Civil War, I like electronics, I like playing video games, I play video games, I got a controller made for me. That's just the way I am. So there's nothing in that sense, but the major thing is I'm definitely more outgoing. I say one thing. Any other questions?
What made you choose speech language and hearing as your PhD?
Well, I want to go into speech pathology, and I want to go into that actually. Thank you, because I actually forgot to talk about it. my speech pathologist, Mike, he was, I don't know, he was in his late 40s, early 50s. He made a big impact. He told me a couple days before I was leaving, Gary, you're gonna have a lot of people who are gonna tell you you can't do things. In these 3 weeks you've been here, you've done a lot that I've never seen in my experience as a speech pathologist. He's like, you can do it. He's like, you're gonna have a lot of people tell you you can't, but I know you can. And actually when I talked to him again, I'm like, yeah, I know people don't recover as well as me. He's like, no, you don't understand. You're the only patient I've seen recover as well as you. My best example of that is that I talked to my OT for inpatient yesterday actually, and she was saying that she has a patient who's 3 years out from brain injury, same time I am, and he was only in a coma for 2 weeks, and she's like, I asked myself, could he do a presentation, and the answer was no. He could barely form a complete sentence. So I've been very lucky in my recovery, and I wanna go into speech pathology because I wanna help other people recover. That's also another point. Yes, I wanna work with traumatic brain injury patients, but I'm open to any demographic of patients. And I think you guys need to keep that in mind because I know a lot of you guys have probably said, oh, I wanna work with kids, oh, I wanna work with adults, oh, I don't wanna work here, I don't wanna work here. You guys don't know where you're gonna like working. I know it's kinda hard for me to tell you that I'm 20 years old and I haven't been in the career, but you have to realize that whoever you guys are gonna work with, you guys are gonna do great, you're gonna love it. So you may not end up working with the age group you want to when you first come out, but just put your heart and soul into it. So that's probably the best thing my therapist did was they always tried their hardest because I could tell. I had traumatic brain injury, I could tell when people were not interested in me and didn't want to listen to me. So yeah. So what are other questions?
Will you ride again?
Will I ride again? Yes. I know people are like, paralyzed, I don't know. I've talked to people, I can't have a bike made, I know it's kinda crazy, but I will ride again. It's just gonna happen. There's gonna be a lot of people who disagree with it, disagree with what I'm doing. Honestly, everything I do now, people disagree with. I was told I was crazy when I wanted to transfer to USF after my first year. It's something I'm used to now. I'm used to people telling me I can't do stuff. And that's probably my favorite part is them doing it. And I don't really say anything to them, I just kinda let them figure it out because I'm not someone who likes to go around and brag. I like them to just figure it out and then see the look on their faces. Any other questions? Is that it? Okay, well thank you guys, I appreciate it.
Thank you.